Hello and welcome to the Watering Hole. Thanks for checking out this clip. Don't forget to like and subscribe because that'll make the baby Jesus cry, and I know how much you guys love making the baby Jesus cry. So now... Oh, was I... Okay. Yeah, there we go. We're coming back to Canada for our first tweet.
No,
this is fun.
I don't know if it is.
It's going to be a fun ride. Well, for me at least, it's fun. So this is the mayor of Toronto, Carolyn Parrish.
Mm-hmm.
She tweeted out that at the request of many, the city has begun to remove all American flags from sports arenas and locations along Lake Ontario, including the pier at Snug Harbor and Port Credit. Oversized Canadian flags are ordered and will be installed on all the poles at City Hall. So yeah, we're taking down American flags from the capital of Ontario and public only Lake Ontario. Well, she's the mayor of Toronto. She doesn't have jurisdiction over other lakes.
Everywhere else.
Like, Toronto's big, but it ain't that big.
No, Toronto's all of Canada.
Yeah, Toronto's not even the capital of Canada. But yeah, so I saw that and I was like, oh, good on you. That's good. I like that. That's a good, like, it doesn't actually do any harm, but it's like a symbolic like, don't fuck with us sort of thing. Why did y'all have American flags at all? Well,
we're allies. We have flags of other nations on our shit too.
So funny you should ask that, because I went into the replies here, and the first one I saw was, pardon my ignorance, but why were there American flags there in the first place? To which Mayor Parrish responded, good question. We have a lot of boaters that come into Port Credit during the summer season. The flags were to welcome our former good neighbors. I love that she called them former good neighbors. Our former good neighbors. But yeah, no, it's not uncommon for government buildings to have American flags up here because you guys are our biggest trading partner. We have like, there are a lot of Americans that have cottages in Canada, so they can come up north for the summer. It's just like there are a lot of Canadians that go down south for the winter. So yeah, no, there are reasons to have American flags. I think specifically at Toronto's town hall, they have a bunch of flags there, and they usually it's usually almost like a United Nations thing where it's like several different types of flags. Let me just see if I can pull up a picture quickly. Okay. So where are we?
The tweets brought to you by K-Sorbs.
So those are the flagpoles out in front of the Toronto Town Hall. So those, they change what's on them. Here it's all of the provinces. And so what they're doing now is they're taking down the American flags that normally there is a permanent spot for the American flag there. But they're taking down the American flag, and they're replacing all of the other flags also with Canadian flags. So yeah, it's symbolic, but it's very much a fuck you to Trump. So
can we say that the beginning
apparently Parrish isn't in Toronto? I thought it.
Can we say that the beginning of Canadian and American hostilities was Sean Schemmel refusing to acknowledge Brian Griffith?
Mayor of Mississauga. So that wasn't what I showed you, wasn't Mississauga's town hall, it was Toronto's town hall. And in my brain, Mississauga and Toronto kind of merge into one anyway. Because they're like right beside each other, and they're both big cities. So like, where are you going? Toronto. Actually going to Mississauga. So I'm sure people from Toronto and Mississauga don't like that. But...
Sorry, wrong one.
Anyway, so yeah, that's the answer to why there were American flags there in the first place. Then Nicole McTagg responded with, this is really short-sighted. The U.S. is not our enemy, and if your city has always displayed the U.S. flag, you should continue to do so. You should not be punishing your pushing your opinions on others. The vast majority of Canadians support our U.S. friends. Leave politics out of it, she says to a mayor who is doing mayoral things. It's like, her job is politics. How is she supposed to leave politics out of it? Like, you're not doing your job if you're leaving politics out of it as a mayor. Do people not know what politics are?
No, they don't. They think politics is when you say something I don't agree with.
Yeah. Like, hey, gay people should have equal rights. Why you gotta get all political? That's not really political. That's just, they're human beings. And
I remember having an argument with I remember having an argument with an old manager of mine where we were talking about gay people in public. And he said that he doesn't want his kids to have to see that. And I just looked at him for a second. I just went, my guy, you're black. We're not so far away from miscegenation laws where you being with a white woman... I just don't want my kids
to see that.
Where you being with a white woman had the same response. Oh, no, that's different. No, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the exact same thing. You don't see it that way because you're living in this moment. But I promise you, somebody 30 years later is going to look at you in this moment and think, wow, that was stupid that he did that when that was the same thing.
If you'll excuse me for a second, I gotta go jiggle the toilet handle.
I can't excuse you. You can't jiggle any toilet handle. That's not a thing you get to do. But now that we know that he's going to go pee, we can articulate how his peeing is going to be. Paige says, I don't know, there's kind of an expectation that local politics is supposed to be nonpartisan. No, and shut the fuck up.
No, it was my bad. Toilet wasn't running. Kid downstairs just showered.
I'm not saying that just to be mean, Paige. I'm saying, doing the devil's advocate, I don't know. People just assume that local politics will be nonpartisan. No, the fuck they don't. No, they don't. I say this as somebody who goes to my local Democratic meetings, and I promise you, trying to get people who are Democrats in various stages of government to do their job, and then those people saying, I'm not going to be here for the Democrats, I'm going to be here for all of whatever county I'm in.
You need to reach across the aisle.
That's fucking window dressing. It is partisan from the top down. Has been, it probably always will be. I'm sorry. I am involved in local politics. I promise you this is how it works.
Skyways says mayors are supposed to get involved. That's where higher level politicians come from. I mean, that's where they're supposed to come from, but usually they just come from someone without enough money to campaign.
That's what happened with Vance.
Mm-hmm.
He was a tech millionaire.
Yeah, and then he, even after his own tech millionaire thing, he was still financed by Peter Thiel.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Williams, subscribed for 9 months, says, back, like and share. Thank you, Olivia. What am I eating? I am eating vegan beef jerky. I finally found that brand that I liked. It's Noble Jerky. It's not, like, as with all vegetarian replacement foods, this is not a replacement for beef jerky. Like, if I want beef jerky, I will not go for this. But it is good, and I like it. So,
I will say,
that's the thing. I wish the vegetarian replacement foods didn't try to be other things. Just be your own thing. Vegetables can be good. Like, you don't need to pretend to be meat to be good.
Vegan chicken nuggets are pretty good.
They can be. Depends on the brand. There are some that come out slimy.
I haven't had any bad ones, but I don't know. They're pretty good. Impossible burgers are okay.
Made with real vegans?
Damn it.
That's how you make them good. Yeah, like, no, I just, like I'm not a vegetarian. I am never going to be a vegetarian, but I do occasionally make an effort to eat less meat. And, like, that's one of the things that I hate is, like the vegan burgers. Like, even the Impossible, like, it's not a replacement for a burger. Like, it's a hamburger the same way a chicken burger is a hamburger. It's just not. So it's like,
nope.
Just be your own thing. You don't need to pretend to be meat. Anyway, leave politics out of the politics, friggin' mayors. Next up, Elon Musk. Let's read the thing that he's retweeting first. Insurrectionist Barbie says, the left cannot name one thing they hate Elon Musk for. Cyrus, do you care to... I feel like you've got a list.
Let's see here. The Nazi salute, I was not really big on. Cutting the funding of Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP, I'm not really big on. I'm not really big on making Twitter a, quote, free speech zone, because all you've done is just make it to where the Nazis are able to be loud and proud on there. You literally brought back Nick Fuentes to the platform. I really hate all the marketing that you have around Tesla. It's really fucking stupid when literally all you're buying is an EV voucher more than anything when you're buying one of those vehicles. Oh, by the way, your tunnel system, your little like super loop shit that you tried to do.
It's just a tunnel that you can drive a Tesla in.
That was one of the most fucking stupid ideas anybody has ever done at all. Dead noming your daughter as well. You could do way better as a human being, and you've chosen not to. And I'm just going off the top of my fucking head.
Yeah. No, that's a quite the list you got there. So counterpoint, Insurrectionist Barbie is right. You can't name one thing you dislike about Elon Musk.
I named several.
Yeah. And try just name it. It's like Lay's. Bet you can't name just one. Can't name one thing he's taken away from them. A lot of people that used to have jobs can do that.
They can. I have friends who have sent me DMs about being terrified about their federal jobs.
Me too. There might even be some crossover in those groups.
There might be.
Yeah, and so then Elon Musk retweeted this saying, my companies make great products that people love and I've never physically hurt anyone. The word physically is doing a fuck ton of heavy lifting there.
I've physically never heard it. Yeah, but you've read it.
I also don't... Also, keep in mind, he retweeted something, like, he did go on to delete it later, but he retweeted a thing that was basically saying, Hitler didn't kill people. It was the government workers who worked for Hitler that killed people. So, like, if he's basically saying, oh, Hitler never killed anyone, it was the government workers that doing that, keep that in mind when he's using the qualifier physically here. Like, that's his bar, is that Hitler didn't actually kill anyone. So why this hate and violence against me? Because you're a fucking Nazi, dude.
Nobody's done any violence against him, though. I mean, we can't. His kid's been... I mean, not me, but, like, nobody's been able to.
Yeah, if he's going to use his child as a human shield. Yeah, okay, add that to the list of things that we don't like about him.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out why he keeps his kid around him all the time for every single fucking thing he's done. Like when Trump did that Tesla advertisement. He's got 14 kids, I think. It's somewhere between 12 and 14, I'm pretty sure. Hitchmeister 59 says Hitler killed at least one person. Yep. But yeah, no, I don't think I had ever seen a picture of him with any of his children ever until suddenly Trump had an assassination attempt against him, and then suddenly his youngest child is all over his shoulders all the time. I thought it wasn't until the CEO.
What do you mean the CEO? Oh, the
Luigi. Like, I don't think it was the Trump assassination that started it, because I didn't notice him bringing the kid everywhere until... It might have been. There are so many scandals that happen so rapidly now that like the timelines are all skewed in my brain, so I might have that wrong. That's fair. Your brain is working like the Dragon Ball timeline right now. I do not get that reference. You know what, though? Again, this is why I don't drink on stream anymore. I don't remember if I covered this last week. Well, covered. It's not something to cover, but I've started watching Avatar. Last Airbender? Not the movie. Yeah, are you watching Last Airbender, or are you watching Legend of Korra? Whichever one is the cartoon that was like the original. Right, that is Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. Is the main character a girl or a bald kid? Both? Okay, then it's Last Airbender. Okay, because that's Aang and Katara.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic show. You will probably enjoy Legend of Korra more when you get to that.
Okay, sure. I don't know. I was just saying, like, I have watched the Netflix version. I haven't watched the whole thing. But just from what I've seen of like the two of them side by side, it's like there was a lot of bad acting in the Netflix one that I was willing to forgive, because like you can have a great actor with a bad director, you're gonna get bad acting. And so I just kind of, because everybody was a bad actor in it, I'm just like, okay, it's probably just the director. But now that I'm watching like the actual cartoon or whatever, it's like, you know what? This show is just, it's charming in a way that the grown up, like, is supposed to be all like grown up and gritty and more serious or whatever. And it's just like, but what if I just want a charming show? It's like your protagonist is a child who, in the live action version, several times he bemoans the fact that he wishes he could just be goofing off with his friends and playing around and being a child and being silly.
Yeah, but in actual Avatar, he just fucking does it.
In the show, he doesn't say, I want to goof off. You just see him goof off. So it's like, it's my cabbages. I get that reference now.
So
I did laugh when he came back in the other city. Like, I wasn't expecting that.
So Airbender is very much it's a Star Wars style story. The Empire has taken over and we need to deal with the Empire. It's very much a story like that. It's really fun. Once you get to Korra is generally considered not the better show because it's not written as well or as tightly. They didn't know if they were going to get extra seasons, so they didn't write like a whole show out. They wrote a season out and they were like, yeah, we'll bookend it and hope for the best. But in Korra, you deal with a fuck ton of political fallout that happens because of the events of Airbender. And it deals with things like immigrants. It deals with police brutality. It deals with when is it okay to riot. It deals with the goal of celebrities when it comes to social revolutions. Like, it deals with a fuck ton of hard shit that is really nice.
So I also think, like, as much as the live action one is trying to be more gritty and realistic and aimed at adults or whatever, I feel like the cartoon actually trusts you to figure things out more.
Yeah, the cartoon respects you as a viewer.
Yeah. Whereas, like, the Netflix show is, well, I mean, they're going with the Netflix, like, this is an actual official Netflix policy, is that you're supposed to write your shows with the assumption that it's going to be viewed on a second screen. So, like, you have to over explain everything, and you have to do that multiple times because the person playing Candy Crush might have missed it the first time. And so that is probably why it was written the way it was. But it sucks. Like I don't know. I'm a one screen at a time kind of guy, I say, as I'm sitting here with my multi-screen setup. So, like, if I'm watching a show, I want to be watching that show. And I also, this kind of gets into my watching habits as well, is that, like, there are shows that I want to watch that I just don't, because I also see watching as like a group activity. That's something, like, I will watch shows with my partner so that we can then talk about those shows. And if it's not something that she is interested in watching, I'm probably just never going to watch it on my own.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so, like, if I'm going to be investing that kind of time into watching something, I want it to be, well, okay. My watching habits also kind of go against this too. I was going to say I want it to be written well and well done, and like have people that are actually trying to make good content for you. But then I remembered that we watched Moonfall together the other day, and I really enjoyed Moonfall because of how absolutely terribly hilariously bad it is. It's so fucking bad. Have you seen Moonfall?
I haven't. So I
They
kept making
outrun
jokes.
the moon, Cirrus. They run away from gravity and then shut a door to hide from gravity. And they live because they shut the door and gravity can't get through the door.
Look, I I started making fun of Moonfall when I saw the advertisements for it and went, holy crap, they're making a Majora's Mask movie?
Yeah, that's basically it. That is basically it. At one point, Cirrus, when they're doing the Ridley Scott thing of like, oh, this disaster is going to happen in this many weeks. No, it's actually this many days.
It's happening now.
Yeah, when they're doing that, which happens in every goddamn Ridley Scott movie. When they're doing that in this one, it's so much dumber than that. It's like, oh, the moon is going to collide with the Earth. Or, well, okay, they actually get the Roche limit kind of right. They're like, the moon is going to hit the Roche limit and disintegrate in 3 months. And then instead of being like, oh no, it's actually 3 days, they're like, oh no, but as the moon gets closer, months will get shorter. So 3 months is actually... So it's just like, no,
okay.
my guy, we don't actually tie the month to the moon anymore, man. That's not how that would work. Like, I get that that's where our month came from originally, but like, no, you don't just get to... It was so bad. Oh, they launched a fucking space shuttle through a tidal wave. And the moon's gravity sucked it up. And then the moon wasn't there. And then the moon snuck up on them 5 seconds later. It's so fucking dumb. It's so dumb. And I loved it. Does the moon have a face? No, it's got alien nanobots, which turn out to be ancient human nanobots. 2 days before the day after tomorrow.
So it isn't as good as Majora's Mask.
Well, I don't know. I finished Moonfall. I didn't finish Majora's Mask.
Fair.
No, not Nanomachine's son. Nanomachine's Sonny. Because the main character's son is literally named Sonny.
It's a Senator Armstrong reference.
Okay, but if you're gonna mash up your Senator Armstrong reference with your Moonfall reference, then it's Nanomachine's Sonny.
That sounds like it's Grandpa Armstrong. Nanomachine, Sonny.
Sure.
Jesus Christ.
And it's got Samuel Tarly in it. And it's got, at one point the NASA director quits, hands his badge to his second in command, is like, you're NASA director now. And then she's like, well, why don't you tell me what happened back during my mission from the beginning of the movie? You have Q clearance, so you know. And it's just like, oh my god, Ridley Scott did that thing again where he read a conspiracy book and was like, hey, this would be a good movie. Where is Moonfall streaming? I'm pretty sure you can like rent it on any of the major platforms. It comes free if you have Amazon Prime. It comes free with Amazon Prime, but I'm not going to recommend Amazon Prime at the moment. So, I knew a paleontologist named Sonny when I was a kid. Yeah, well, I know of I think he's a geologist named Flint Dibble, and that is my favorite name.
Flint Dibble.
No, he's an archaeologist. An archaeologist named Flint Dibble, and he wears an Indiana Jones hat. And it's great. And he kicked the shit out of Graham Hancock on the Joe Rogan show. Graham Hancock, if you are unfamiliar, he's one of these conspiracy theorist guys who is like, oh, Noah's flood was based on a real event, and that's how we know Atlantis was a real place.
What?
Yeah. That's
and of course
Graham
Joe
Hancock.
Rogan's gonna do the thing where he just nods his head and goes, yeah?
Oh, that's amazing. Jesus Christ.
That's so cool.
Jamie, can you Google that? Yeah. So that was one of the few times when like someone actually came on to correct the record. But yeah. Anyway. Elon says that he's a deadly threat to the woke mind parasite and the humans it controls. Which, remember, he's talking about his daughter when he says that.
Yep.
Because that is literally woke mind virus are the words that he used to describe how his daughter became trans.
Yep, I lost my daughter to the woke mind virus.
Yeah, so that's literally him describing his daughter right there.
Like, I'm sorry your daughter came out as trans. Like, I'm sorry, my guy. That must have been so hard for you.
Okay, Fennec is trying to get my attention with this thing. Elon Musk's trans daughter says parents use sex selective IVF. Yeah, okay. I thought about bringing that up because the thing is, he's got like 14 kids. They are all boys, except for his trans girl.
Yeah, he's obsessed with having only men.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't know that was a thing that she said. But I had seen that speculated about, and it made sense to me because those are some wild odds. You get 14 heads in a row. It's not impossible, but it's certainly not likely. Apparently there's a firefighter whose name is Les McBurney.
Les McBurney?
I mean, with a name like that, you kind of have to be a firefighter.
What do you need to do to solve the fire? We need Les McBurney. Let us make Les McBurney happen.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's Elon not understanding why people don't like him. There we go. Olivia Williams says, love the No Rogan podcast. Also feel like we should campaign to get Forrest Valkai on Joe Rogan Experience. Yeah, the No Rogan Experience, that's KNOW. That is Cecil, I think his last name's Cicerello. Cecil something Italian, and Michael Marshall of Skeptic Magazine in the UK, who runs the QED conference. They will listen to an episode of Joe Rogan, and then they'll go over like, this is how Joe could have done better. These are the logical fallacies that were used here. And like, they analyze it and they try and present it from a viewpoint of like, they are both very much against most of what Joe Rogan says, but they try and present it from a friendly to the average Joe Rogan viewer in that sort of way. So it's like, we're not just going to be like, oh, I hate Joe Rogan because he's Joe Rogan. We're actually going to like play clips of him and explain like, this is what really happened here.
That's why we hate him.
And yeah, well, yeah, okay. It's a good show.
We don't hate him because he's Joe Rogan. We hate him because of the things he does.
I do recommend the show. It's very good. Also, I'm pretty sure both Cecil and Marsh are CAN credentialed. As am I. Are you on that list yet?
I signed the thing.
Oh, you signed the thing? Good.
I don't remember actually getting back the thing that said this is the thing you have to read. I need to check my email again.
Yeah, probably. I am now fully credentialed. I was provisionally credentialed up until like last week. But the provisionally has been dropped. So there, I made it through the whole credentialing process before you even got the provisional.
Look.
So I win the race.
Much like with masturbating, it's not a race.
Okay. But what if it is, though?
Made that mistake with my first girlfriend.
Masturbating?
No, thinking of it as a race.
You specifically said masturbating was not a race.
Yes.
I'm like, sometimes masturbating is a race. So I only got so much time before people get home. Okay, we haven't had my big goofy winter hat in a while, so... Oh, that's why, because it doesn't fit over the friggin' headphones. There we go. My head has a boner.
That's... okay. Fair enough.
When I say I'm gonna face fuck you...
It's with your head. That's
sure.
Not face fucking, that's...
Okay.
Head shoving.
Something like that. Dark Excalibur says credentialed for what? The Creator Accountability Network. Basically, a bunch of creators have gotten together and been like, hey, we want our audience to feel like they're safe. So, like, this is a thing that if you can, like, if we go to a conference or something and I smack your butt, there's now a phone number that you can call and be like, hey, he smacked my butt and that made me feel really unsafe and uncomfortable and I didn't like that. And you need to do something. And then they will like sit me down and go through like I mean, that's such an obvious example. I can't see that ever happening.
Just sitting there,
okay.
Rhino, we need to explain to you why consent is important.
Yeah, basically, like that's what it is. Like, we need to explain to you why what you did is wrong. Here's how you could have handled that situation better. Here's how you could have avoided being reported. And then you, like, at the moment, it's kind of, it's toothless in the sense that, like, the worst that happens is that, like, I lose my credentials if they decide that I'm not, like, actually trying to do better. But it's also like, if I suddenly lose my credentials, you can now look at that and be like, what happened? And then bother me about that until I either tell you about it or block you or whatever. And here I was thinking you were licensed to wed people. I am licensed to wed people. I am an ordained minister.
Yay.
Yeah, I literally became an ordained minister to win a Twitter fight. That was
just to show how easy it was to be one.
Yeah, no, some guy was telling me that, like, oh, you shouldn't be responding to Mike Winger because Mike Winger is like he's an ordained minister, so he's trained in this sort of thing. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. Filled out some paperwork, came back 5 minutes later, being like, hey, guess what? I'm an ordained minister now. Can I talk about Mike Winger? And I did it with my real name and everything, so I couldn't prove it to him because I'm anonymous on the internet, but, like, I legally can marry people. Not in Canada, because we don't accept their ordinations in Canada. So I can only marry people in a place that I refuse to go to right now. Oh, anyway. Elon Musk again. So Doge Designer says, breaking, Elon Musk says that he thinks we could have 1 million people on Mars in 20 years. And Elon says best case 20 years, but probably closer to 30. There were people doing the math on this.
Based on what expertise?
There were people doing the math on this. You would have to send 1,000 rockets with our current capacity rockets to Mars every year in order to get there in 20 years. Sure, it goes down a little bit for 30, but, like, that ain't happening.
Are they counting, like, people breeding a fuck ton on Mars?
Maybe.
Because, like, that would skew the numbers a little bit.
No, I don't think it would skew them enough. In 20 years?
I mean, if every couple had a kid every year while they are there, and that was, like, a thing that they had to do. Because you can definitely see Elon being the kind of person to force quiverfulling on them.
I could. It does sound an awful lot like you're trying to you're trying to give an explanation for how Egypt could have existed just like 100 years after Noah's Ark. Like, so yeah, if you go with creationist math, sure, maybe we could get to 1 million. Drew Harrison says that is a lot of methane. That is a lot of methane. Okay, this hat can't stay on for long. It is too tight. That one triggers my sensory issues.
Which one triggers the libs more?
My dick.
I don't know. You said trigger, and I had to go with it.
Taku Senpai says 20 to 30 years, maybe a few dozen to a few hundred. Like, actually living there permanently, I don't think so. We might have a manned mission by then. I have my doubts about that. But I don't think anyone's going to be living there permanently. Like, just the radiation alone would be a huge issue. Because Mars don't have magnetic field like Earth does. Like, that would actually be a similar problem on the moon, but the moon has lava tubes that would help with that quite a bit. Dig underground and lives like moles. I am now picturing the guy from that Atlantis movie that Disney did.
Oh, the guy who operated the heavy machinery?
Digger guy.
Yeah. I used to have his toy for McDonald's.
That was a fun movie. Again, bad movie, but, like, in a fun way.
I don't think I even think it's a bad movie.
There's too many characters that you just... And the tone shifts are crazy. Like, it goes from literally, we're doing a memorial service for the hundreds of people that just died as we got to this point in our expedition, and it cuts from that to Milo playing with the horn on a car. I'm like, that is a wild tone shift, man. And like, he comes across as a bit of a psychopath. And they're like, oh yeah, I don't care that hundreds of people just died. Horn!
I guess I could see it, but I don't know. I've always had a fun time with that movie when I've watched it.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's not a fun movie. I'm just saying that as far as like movie structures go, it ain't great. It could be a lot better. That is a movie that I think could actually do well with a remake. If Disney really wants to remake something, because it's a good solid movie. It's got the core of a good movie in it, but there are a few things that they botched, and if they did them properly, it'd be amazing. Anyway, yeah, Elon is delusional. This is another... Actually, you know what? The main reason I think this is not going to happen is because Elon said it would. Because, like, full self-driving has always been a year away, since 2014. And despite having released a thing that they call full self-driving, it isn't, as we talked about earlier. Yeah, why do they keep remaking popular movies instead of remaking disappointing movies to make them good? Treasure Planet.
Treasure Planet was not a disappointing movie, though. That was a fucking fantastic
film. It was a fantastic movie, but fuck Ben. Remake it without Ben, or at least tone Ben down a little. I did not like Ben, but I did like Treasure Planet.
Ben feels very much like, and granted, I don't hate Ben at all, but he does feel like the generic Pixar toy more than anything. You know, like, did you see the Buzz Lightyear movie that came out recently?
Yeah, with the cat.
Yeah, the cat's the same thing.
The
for
only
me.
reason the cat is even there is to sell toys.
Yeah, that feels like that to me. But I'm also fine with Ben. Ben did not bother me. Ben feels better than Jar Jar Binks to me.
Also, so I do love Treasure Planet. Like, I mean, like, Ben is the biggest problem with Treasure Planet, in my opinion. And aside from that, I think it was fantastic. And I think part of that is that it was a passion project. The people who worked on that, they had been begging Disney corporate to allow them to work on that for like a decade. And it was like, they basically were like, oh no, you have to make this movie first. And so they made that movie. And then they were like, okay, you have to make this other movie first. And so they made this other movie. And then they're like, okay, you know what? You made two movies. Like, I think it was The Little Mermaid and I forget what the second, it might have been The Lion King. It was like two really big classic Disney movies. And they did amazing at the box office. And then Disney corporate was like, and no, we're getting there. We're getting there, Lenari. Disney corporate was like, okay, you know what? If you make us another impossible blockbuster that makes us a shit ton of money, we'll let you make Treasure Planet. And then they made Hercules, which bombed at the box office, but like not terribly bombed. It did well enough that they were able to like get the higher ups to go like, okay, I suppose it did okay enough that I guess you can do your passion project. And then they like the blending of animation techniques that they use, like they use classical hand-drawn animation, they had 3D animation, they had that that thing that Disney developed that like it used hand-drawn things, but like oh no, it was they developed it. No, it wasn't.
Is it rotoscoping?
No, not rotoscoping. It was that thing that they designed for Tarzan to like when he's skating on the branches, where the branches are like it's not the same as like 3D rendering, but it was done in the computer, and then people would like come in and hand paint it. I forget exactly how it worked, but it was a blending of 3 different animation techniques, and they did it seamlessly. Like there were elements in that movie, like normally, especially from that time, when you get a CG element in there, it's obvious which element is CG.
Mm-hmm.
But like that one, like there are some things like that, but there are other things it's like, oh, I didn't even know that that was CG until I learned about it just now. Oh, it was like, from a technical perspective, that movie was just perfect.
Okay.
I don't know. Where were we? Yeah, we were talking about Elon said a thing.
About Elon Musk.
Elon said a thing, therefore it must be false, because that's how Elon works. Eric Hovind, getting some classics in here, says, every single cell in your body is more complex than all of New York City. Behold the biomechanical pathways in a single cell. Inside just one cell, you'll find information processing systems, molecular machines, self-repair mechanisms, and precision-engineered logistics, far more intricate than New York City's subway, electrical grid, water system, and food supply chain combined. And yet we're supposed to believe this built itself by accident? Believing in evolution isn't just intellectually dishonest, it's willingly ignorant. Romans 1:20 says it best. They are without excuse. The complexity of life screams design. Open your eyes. Has Eric ever heard the phrase Rome wasn't built in a day?
No, I don't think he's ever cared to.
Because
granted, he's definitely heard the phrase, but I don't think he's ever figured out why it's said.
Like, comparing a cell to a city is actually a perfect example of evolution. Because New York City, as it is today, was not just plunked down fully formed. It slowly evolved over time, and it changed drastically during that process. And a lot of those changes were not planned with like what it would become in the future in mind. They were just doing the best that they could at the time. So like, cities are kind of great analogies for how these complex interconnected systems can develop without there being an overarching design. So yeah, good job, Eric. But also, what I like here is he's bringing up Romans 1:20. Fun fact about Romans chapter 1, it's a rhetorical trap. So if you look at the context that Paul is writing in, he's writing to Jewish Christians in first century Rome. And Romans 1 is written very much in the style of a Jewish polemic against pagans. It's like there's some of the wisdom literature has some of the exact same linguistic flares and word choices and stuff like that. So Paul is very intently writing literature that he knows that they're going to be familiar with and get them nodding along with, the pagan's bad. Yeah, I agree. Pagans bad. Pagans are bad. And then Romans chapter 2, verse 1 immediately is a rug pull. That's like, hey, and guess what? Because you agreed with chapter 1, you're just as fucking bad as those people are. You are just as bad as them. How dare you pass judgment on them? That is God's thing. It is not your job to judge these people. And you are just as bad as them for doing it. So, like, the fact that Christians are so happy to use Romans 1 against atheists,
when its entire rhetorical point is to be a rug pull.
Yes, the entire point of that is you're just as bad as the people that you are condemning with this. So, I'm sorry, Eric, but Paul would be appalled at his use of Romans 1:20.
Oh, God fucking damn it. We all know you have kids!
Yeah, that might be a preview of my video this Friday.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
We get it.
Yeah, what's great though is like apologists like to use Romans 1:20 as though they are speaking to atheists. Like they pretend as though this is going to convince an atheist, but like telling an atheist that no, you actually do believe God deep down, you're just willfully denying that.
It's written on your heart. Don't worry, guy.
The only thing that could possibly accomplish for someone who believes that they do not believe in God is to be like, oh, okay, the Bible says that I believe in God. Well, then the Bible is obviously wrong because I know that I don't.
Yeah, the Bible, surprise, surprise, the book written well before I was alive doesn't know me as well as I know me. Mm-hmm. Weird.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed?
Funny thing. Yeah. And JD Vance News I don't. Why do people write breaking at the beginning of a tweet? Like breaking. Should Caroline Levitt and Pam Bondi continue wearing the cross in public? Like, that's not breaking. That's, I have a question for you. I mean, I have used breaking at the beginning of my tweets ironically to
because it's a funny
little
joke.
bit funny. But like, these people are unironically being like, breaking. Should they wear a cross? You're like, I don't fucking care. Let them wear a cross if they want. I mean, it's making Christianity look bad by association.
Yeah.
Like something ninth commandment.
Religiosity has been on a downward spiral for a while.
Mm-hmm. And
it continues to be so.
Probably not going to help with that.
No.
Yeah, Kitsune
don't worry,
says,
I'm sure another survival will fix it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant revival, not survival. Why did I say survival?
Freudian slip. It's on the mind. That's what we want to do nowadays.
We do want to survive. It's getting a bit harder to do that.
Yep. Okay, then we're finishing off
Wendell.
with Wendell, who, again, more evolution stuff, says, no one has observed macroevolution, one species turning into another, nor has it been demonstrated and replicated. Therefore, by definition, it's not a scientific position. So actually, I prepared for this one. So, Wendell, when you say nobody's observed one species turning into another, I would like to draw your attention to Creation Ministries International's list of arguments they think that creationists should not use. And that's that no new species have been produced. In other words, new species turning into another species. They say, first words, this is not true. New species have been observed to form. In fact, rapid speciation is an important part of the creation model. Because it turns out they actually believe in more evolution than the evolutionists do. Because how are you going to get from 4,000 animals on an ark to the millions of species that we see today? But then they say this is speciation within the kind and involves no new genetic information. See Q&A speciation, fixity of species.
No scientist uses the word kind.
No. I do love, though, fixity of species was actually taught by Darwin's anti-biblical mentor, Charles Lyell. Charles Lyell was a devoted Christian. Arguably, he believed in Noah's flood. He certainly included an explanation for how Noah's flood could leave no trace in the geologic record in his book on the geologic record that all these creationists will hold up and be like, this was him trying to disprove the Bible. It's like, no, read the 4th edition. He had a whole paragraph explaining that the flood must have been so gentle as to not leave any clue. And he used the Bible to prove that. He said, an olive tree survived the flood. It had to have been gentle. A worldwide torrentious flood that these flood geologists are claiming happened would not have allowed an olive tree to survive. So an olive tree surviving means that there would be no record of it in the geologic column. Ergo, we can believe in a flood and accept geology. So, yeah, no, he was trying to harmonize the science in the Bible. He's one of the most maligned scientists in history from creationists.
And yet, he was on their side the whole time.
It wasn't like firmly on their side. Like, he definitely believed in old ages.
Compared to how they try to.
And it is unclear whether or not he actually accepted his hypothesis about the flood, but he was open to it, is my point. He published a book with an argument in its favor. Like, he wasn't an ardent defender of the flood, but he was not trying to dismantle it. He tried to throw creationists a bone, being like, hey, all this shit that I'm observing with old ages and crap, and like how rock layers form, it's all undeniable. But if you want to believe in a flood, here's a way you can believe in a flood. So it's not science's fault that creationists refuse to read the books that they claim to have read, which I think includes the Bible, actually.
Oftentimes it kind of does, if your Romans 1 conversation has anything to do with what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah. I mean, not specifically, but Wendell didn't.
It's the same idea.
Wendell didn't bring it up this time, but I'm sure he has in the past. So, yeah, that is it. Where's my button? There we are. That's it for the tweets.
That's it for the tweets. It's all done. It's all ogre now.
It's only just beginning, unfortunately.
It's all Jover now.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, are you streaming after this?
Yes, I am.
I will be rating you then.
Yay! I
So,
appreciate it. People watching my stream.
yeah, all 20
Even
of
though
them.
one of the things I was going to be covering, we ended up covering here instead.
Yeah, well, you can cover it again. All right.
Yeah, there will probably be somebody for it.
As always, fuck off.